Alright guys, it's time I gave you a little bit of an update on how my reading's going. I set out in the beginning of this challenge that I was going to read 30 books over the course of the 90 days. So far I finished about 2.5 books, puts me a little bit behind where I want to be. The first book I read was about anxiety and depression. It's called The Solution by Lucinda, Bassett. I found it to be a very good read. As I've read through a lot of the other entries in this challenge, a lot of us have a common thing where we struggle with anxiety and depression. I fall into that category as well. She points out a lot of really great things. She bases everything on our core story, which is about basically our childhood, the things we experienced, and the relationship we had with our parents. We basically become what we know. We need to be proactive. We need to take advantage of the positive in a situation. If we be negative with everything, we'll never see a result to get us better. A lot of our fears are very irrational. Most of them are made up. We need to take risks. Don't be a prisoner of yourself. Without taking a risk, we'll never overcome our fears. And without overcoming our fears, we'll never be able to become the person we want to be. She set out a plan for 5 steps of reversal of the theory that she uses. We needed to define our fears. To basically sit down, what are you afraid of? Why is it that you avoid things that you worry about, whether the future, the past, and what we can do to alleviate those. We want to take a time out, take a step back, look at it, evaluate it, and then create a plan of action. With a plan of action, we can make ourselves a better person, have that great life that we're all striving for. We want to use the fear as a motivator. Don't be afraid of everything. Use it as a means to apply yourself to expand beyond that. And think outside the box. Don't always look at everything through your eyes. Reach out, talk to other people, figure out what is it about these situations that they can help you understand what you're doing, what you're seeing, and maybe provide a path that you didn't already see. Definitely a book I recommend reading. I breezed through it about a day and a half. It's a nice easy breeze. It can get a little bit wordy, but she does a very good job of describing what she's talking about. The second book that I finished, it's called A Noble Hustle. I don't know if maybe some people have heard that or not. It's written by Colton, Whitehead. He was employed by ESPN when Grantland, which is a website that was owned by them, was still around. He was approached by one of his editors to basically be an average Joe that plays in the World Series. So the book kind of goes through and it talks about how he prepared for the tournament, reached out. He got a coach, someone that had experience in the WSOP circuits and in the main event. The book wasn't exactly what I expected it to be. It's a lot more about him in preparing and talking about some of the things that are going on in his life, a little bit of family stuff. He was going through a divorce, didn't have a lot going on, played poker with some friends that were all writers, but in the end, he lasted, I believe it was 3 days in the tournament. He played against some of the best in the world during the time, picked his spots, but ultimately, I believe it was, he got taken down ace over king. So, not necessarily a book that I would recommend reading. However, it did provide some insight into just what the average person goes through whenever they're preparing to do a tournament or something that they weren't naturally trained to do, or someone that hasn't put the time in that others have. Currently, I'm reading a book about backpacking and hiking. Actually, it's The Idiot's Guide to Backpack and Hiking. It's very well written. It's given me a lot of insight into how to achieve my final goal, which is to take that hike along the Appalachian Trail. I've been doing a lot of research as far as where which segment I'm going to use along the trail, because that's really the first thing it points out, is make sure you have a very well planned attempt, is so that you know exactly what you're going to do. You don't want to go out there and have any unknowns. Know exactly how far you want to hike in a day, where you're going to camp, what you're going to pack, how to check the weather. A lot of interesting things. Currently, I'm at the point in the book where we're looking at what kind of gear we need to take. I'm probably going to take a trip later on this week. I'm off work on Friday. Probably hit up a local sporting goods store, kind of take a look at what's out there and what kind of cost is going to be associated with achieving this final goal. All right, guys, have a great day. Thanks for listening, and follow along.